Hello, I'm Warren O. Williams. For the next few minutes, let me share why I'm running for the 2020 Republican presidential nomination. I will outline the core principles that serve as my political guideposts. And as my theme takes shape, I'm going to offer a contemporary critique of my party and suggest ways it might become nobler, renew its historic commitment to building bridges to help all achieve the American dream, and to reject the urging of demagogues like Donald Trump to build walls of denial and isolation. I'm a Republican because I believe it's the party which best represents the values that enhance the dignity of every human life. We believe that life is precious precisely because it is a gift from God. Government's proper role is to preserve and protect the dignity and the honor of the human experience, from birth to the frailty and vulnerability that attend the twilight of natural life. My party believes it is only when government understands that it is under God, that it is accountable to a higher power, that our liberties are truly secure. Now, if one strips away America's economic abundance and its military might, we expose a nation premised on a simple, exceedingly moral idea that we are all created equal, equal in dignity, equal under the law, and equal in being worthy of our collective care and concern. But let me not equivocate. However lofty our ideals, this nation's overall affluence notwithstanding, there is a segment of our population which has been left behind, for whom the promise of America seems the impossible dream. A segment which appears to be a permanent underclass, one left wondering if there's truly room for them in this great society of ours. Now, while we all have equal worth, not all of us are offered equal life chances. These days, we often hear GOP leaders and the rank and file on the right of the political divide talk emphatically about personal responsibility over community obligation, a mindset embodied by the phrase, "I've got mine, you go get yours." And we often hear messages, particularly from my more conservative brethren, that incentives are all that's needed to encourage everyone in America to succeed. Folks, that is simply not the case. The proverbial playing field in this nation is not yet level. Closer to it than just a generation ago, for sure. But inequality still exists in relative abundance in America. In many of our urban areas like Detroit, less than a quarter of all young black men finish high school. For a distressingly large portion of them, the legitimate doors to economic and social success will likely remain closed for the rest of their lives. In the city of Detroit, 9 out of 10 babies born out of wedlock. And statistically, we know those babies have a greater chance of becoming poor, undereducated adults, members of that permanent underclass I alluded to earlier. They stand a significantly greater chance of becoming a prison inmate than a college graduate. Now, while many white children are sent off walking or driving to affluent schools each morning, many black children must duck stray bullets from feuding gangs and are forced to attend schools so dysfunctional that many are left wholly unprepared to compete successfully in this new, hyper-competitive, high-tech-driven global economy. And then there's this inconvenient and unpleasant truth. America's legacy of slavery, racism, and bigotry still casts a shadow impacting black progress. As President George W. Bush once boldly declared, "My nation's journey toward justice has not been easy, and it is not over." The racial bigotry fed by slavery did not end with slavery or with segregation. And many of the issues that still trouble America have roots in the bitter experience of other times. It is in large part a result of that bitter experience that the average white household today has a net worth 10 times greater than that of blacks, $171,000 versus $17,000. This generation should not be remembered as one rich in possessions, yet poor in ideals. Our most Noble moments, our most substantive and enduring sympathies, are embodied in those times when we acted together as one people on behalf of others. For example, our Declaration of Independence, when we the people staked out the eternal claim that men and women should be free from overbearing government and religious oppression. The Civil Rights and Voting Rights Acts of the mid-1960s, when this nation moved inexorably closer to that Jeffersonian ideal of all are created equal. When America affirmed in law that dignity, opportunity, and true freedom were the inherent right of all of this nation's citizens. I firmly believe the Republican Party is best when it is true to its roots, the party of Lincoln which freed the slaves, the party largely responsible for the Intercontinental Railroad, the land-grant college, women's suffrage, the establishment of the National Park System, and the launch of America's environmental movement. The party to which the first Black, Hispanic, and female elected officials belonged. The party behind the creation of the interstate highway system, and the party of the man, Earl Warren, who presided over a Supreme Court which found that racially segregated public schools were inherently unequal and thus a violation of the U.S. Constitution. The GOP should again be more about the business of helping to advance the dignity of every citizen, giving him or her an equal stake, and going about the hard work of advancing equal opportunity. My party should stand for an inclusive society wherein all participate and through which everyone advances. There has never been a more opportune time than right now to remove the remaining barriers to the American dream. Tax cuts, free trade, and applied technology have produced dramatic increases in productivity and economic growth. Our present-day affluence provides an ideal setting in which to create pathways of hope, from welfare dependence to economic independence, from isolation to assimilation, and from poverty to prosperity. The truest test of our dynamic economy is not the size of the feast it creates, but the number of folks who can sit at the table and enjoy it. My Republican Party simply must again widen its tent to include those with moderate, even liberal views on some of the issues of the day. It should speak loudly and boldly about helping to achieve the aspirations of us all, white and black, rich and poor, young and old, male and female, straight and gay. This is a nation of high purpose and unceasing reform, of child labor laws and emancipation, of suffrage and of civil rights. When we eliminate barriers to those in need, when we create legitimate pathways of hope for those among us who thirst for a better life, when we provide access to opportunity to those folks staring at closed doors, when we side with the millions of people around this planet still oppressed by tyranny, then and only then can we rightfully claim the allegiance of a broad and diverse coalition. As Republicans, we need to carry a message of hope and renewal to every community across this great land of ours. We must let every citizen know that the American dream is for you. We must tell neglected children in inadequate schools, the American dream is for you. And we must stress to folks longing to ascend the ladder of economic and social success that the American dream is for you too. Finally, my friends, I believe we need a rendezvous with our better selves, a reacquaintance with the better angels of our nature. We must once again embrace the universal values that unite and inspire us, values which empower us to act decisively on behalf of we the people. And so, that is why I am hereby announcing my faux candidacy for the Republican nomination for president of this great country. It is for the restoration of all the good and noble things this nation has stood for, to rescue the very soul of America, that the dishonest, lawless, and tyrannical reign of Donald J. Trump must end. With divine help and yours, we're going to make that happen. God bless the United States of America.